Hello there, and welcome to the Outside Views weekly report on Scottish politics. Funding of at least £8 million for additional care home beds and efforts to boost NHS 24 capacity are among the measures outlined by Health Secretary Hamza Yousaf to help the NHS and social care deal with ongoing extreme winter pressure. Health and social care partnerships will share £8 million to procure around 300 additional care home beds to help alleviate pressures caused by the delayed discharge. The funding will allow boards to pay 25% over and above the national care home rate for beds. This is in addition to around 600 interim care beds already in operation across the country. NHS 24 is taking forward plans to recruit around 200 new starts before the end of March. In the run-up to Christmas, NHS 24 had already recruited over 40 whole-time equivalent call operators, call handlers, and clinical supervisors. Guidance has been issued to all boards, making it clear that they can take necessary steps to protect critical and life-saving care. More than 80 actions supported by £68 million over the course of this Parliament are outlined in the Scottish Government's response to Changing Lives, the final report from the Drug Deaths Task Force. Measures are being taken across a broad range of areas, including employment, justice, transport, education, and health and social care, to improve the lives of those affected by drugs. The response is underpinned by two principles: that services treat problem drug use the same as any other health condition, and that people with lived experience are involved in policy decisions. The plan is supported, as I said, by a total of £68 million over the course of this Parliament. Funding of £38 million will be made available through alcohol and drug policy budgets. This includes an additional £12 million outlined in the 23-24 budget. These new commitments will ensure the Scottish Government invests £250 million on the national mission over the course of the Parliament. In addition, £10 million per year, that's totally £30 million, will be ring-fenced from the enhanced services allocation to NHS territorial boards to support the primary care response to the drug crisis. Enhanced services are services over and above the standard GP contract, which GP practices can decide whether or not to take. The terms of directed enhanced services are set by the Scottish Government, which then directs health boards to offer them to GP practices. Health boards and GP practices may also locally agree other enhanced services to meet particular needs in their area. Scotland's groundbreaking domestic abuse legislation better reflects victims' experiences, according to new research. By recognising abuse as a pattern of behaviour, the Domestic Abuse Scotland Act 2018 closer matches victim accounts of psychological and physical harm over the time, according to 3 small-scale research studies from Glasgow Caledonian University, the University of Edinburgh, and the Scottish Government. Responses from 69 domestic abuse victims and witnesses also found most women felt that engaging with the criminal justice system on domestic abuse was the right decision to take. However, respondents also said improvements could be made to how such cases are handled to provide victims with a greater voice in proceedings and better support through the process. Other areas of improvement included making judicial processes quicker and more efficient and providing better training for justice professionals. The Domestic Abuse Scotland Act 2018 was passed by Parliament on February 1st in 2018 and was brought into force in April 2019. The Scottish Government published in February 2022 the Vision for Justice, which set out that urgent action is required to ensure women and children are better served by Scotland's justice system. The Scottish Government also intends to introduce a criminal justice reform bill this year to bring forward recommendation from Lady Dorian's review on improving the management of sexual offences cases, including introducing a statutory right to an anonymity for victims of sexual offences. The bill will also abolish the not proven verdict. There is a clear imperative to accelerate the clean energy transition and reduce Scotland's dependence on oil and gas. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon has said that ahead of the publication of a new strategy for the energy sector. The draft energy strategy being published for consultation this week sets out the Scottish Government's policies on domestic production of energy, alongside a plan to reduce demand and build a resilient and secure future net zero energy system. Also published is the first Just Transition Plan to ensure that, as the energy sector grows and also changes, it benefits citizens, workers, and communities. It provides a roadmap of actions with a particular focus out to 2030 for the Scottish and UK governments, and is central to meeting Scotland's climate change targets, as well as boosting jobs and improving well-being. School libraries across Scotland have been awarded funding totaling £200,000 for projects focused on anti-racism, diversity and racial equality. In 22-23, 18 initiatives across 10 local authorities will benefit from the School Library Improvement Fund grants. These include Strathaven Academy in South Lanarkshire, which received £5,000 to develop a diversity and racial equality education initiative to promote and develop anti-racist education. Ross High School in East Lothian will be supported with £50,000 for its community programme that will encourage pupils and staff to have the confidence to challenge and appropriately respond to discrimination and prejudice. The School Library Improvement Fund, which is administered by the Scottish Library and Information Council, or SLIC, was launched by the Scottish Government in 2017. The Scottish Government is committed to the continuous improvement of school libraries through the School Library Strategy, Vibrant Libraries, Thriving Schools. Initiatives aimed at promoting the benefits of science, technology, engineering and mathematics, so-called STEM, among school pupils, will receive funding to help develop Scotland's future workforce. National STEM programs, Generation Science and the Young Engineers and Science Clubs, will benefit from a total amount of £100,000. More than 100,000 pupils across Scotland have benefited from both initiatives. Further funding will be given to supporting science festivals, including those taking place in Edinburgh, in Glasgow and Stirling. The funding supports the Scottish Government's STEM education and training strategy and the commitment to equip communities and young people, particularly those from remote and deprived areas, with STEM skills to tackle current and real-life challenges, including climate change and health-related issues. More than 180 projects across rural Scotland will receive grants ranging from £100,000 to several £100,000 from the Rural and Island Community Ideas into Action, or RICIA fund. The fund encourages and supports non-for-profit community groups with innovative approaches to community-led local development, including work towards net zero and just transition goals, tackling rural poverty and supporting rural communities through the cost of living crisis. The funding is being delivered in partnership between the Scottish Government and Inspiring Scotland. Scotland's ambition to become Europe's leading space nation by 2030 is being given a boost under the guidance of a group of global experts from the space industry. The Scotland International Space Advisory Committee, or CSAC, consists of members of the Scottish Government's Global Scot programme, that's a network of Scots in business around the world, who have come together voluntarily to provide advice and identify opportunities to achieve a £4 billion share of the global space market and 20,000 jobs in the sector over the next 7 years. Scotland is making huge advances in the space sector, with the first orbital launch from Scotland's soil due in 2023. Both Saxavord Spaceport in Shetland and Space Hub Sutherland, working alongside Scottish-based launch manufacturers, are months away from liftoff. Space Hub Sutherland will host launches by owners Orbex from next year. Saxavord Spaceport will offer a multi-pad, multi-user launch facility with multiple launch partners, including Scottish-based Skyrora, which has developed its own eco-friendly fuel, EcoScene, made of waste plastics. As well as its launch capabilities, Scotland is also world-leading in small satellite manufacturing, with Glasgow building more satellites than any other place in Europe. Expertise in data gathering and analysis makes Scotland the data-driven capital of Europe, hosting the largest centre for informatics and having more than 170 data sciences companies. And their world-class research institutions have been demonstrated as Scottish skills and innovation played an important role in the development of the instruments on board the James Webb Space Telescope. And this concludes this week's report on Scottish politics. I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.